So, hello. How's everybody doing? I'm so sorry. It's been over 2 weeks since I've been live. I've been traveling. So I'm so happy that you guys been patient with me. And we are streaming live on 4 platforms. And I am so excited to have special guests with me. Yahoo!
Hey.
We have Andi and Lee in the house.
Yes.
And they were here visiting because I haven't announced it yet, but we're going to be doing a podcast, but keeping that secret until it's time to announce it. So stay tuned for that. But I figured since it's been a while thank you. They said, welcome back. Since it's been a while that I would, I think I have going live on, sorry guys, give me a second. I don't know if this is,
I just want to clarify. Liverpool was close, actually. I'm from Birmingham, England, but very close.
Oh, there you go. So anyway, guess what, Andi? I wanted to have them on because most of you contact me, watch my videos because of love, right? Let me know if you want love. Put in the comment section right now. Send hi. Let me know in the comments section if you want to know love. Hit the hearts. Let me say yes. Do you want to know about love? Yeah. See, they're all joining. Great. Thank you. Yep. So if you want to know about love, guess what? These two, I'm saying, was it a coincidence? But again, Lee is from another country. They had no idea. The universe was already helping them get together. And how did they connect is through intuition. So they are here to help you today. We're going to we did an impulsive live. I said, do you guys want to go live with me? Why not? Right. And so, there we go on TikTok. I don't know what any of that is. But so what we're going to do is I want them to tell their love story to give you hope out there and then give you some important tools. And then we'll do some we'll pick you guys that stay with us on here to give us some advice. We'll give you, we're all intuitive here. We'll pick you guys randomly to see who needs some love advice. Maybe some tips we can give you intuitively and such. So tell us your beautiful story, how you guys met.
Okay, should I go first?
Go for it.
Okay, so, and I'll try to make this really brief, but I've been coaching for years and I was doing workshops, and a friend of mine came to one of my workshops and she said, what you do would be really beautiful in the field of recovery, in treatment centers. And I had never thought about sharing in that setting. It just had never even crossed my mind. But something when she said that to me.
Can you scoot up a little further? You're blurry over here. I'm sorry.
Something resonated. And I was like, you know what? Give me the name of the person. I'm willing to contact them. And I knew nothing about the recovery field. I wasn't a recovery coach. I didn't have any background in addiction. But something said to me, yes. So I contacted the person. And the funny thing is they did not get back to me. So I called them again. They didn't get back to me. And it wasn't my nature. My nature is, if I have a calling to do something, but if I'm getting a resistance, that means walk in the other direction. It's like read the room. But something was telling me to be persistent. It was so interesting because it wasn't my nature. If a door is closed, I don't bang it down,
Right.
But something was telling me continue to be persistent, continue to be persistent. So I was, and they ended up hiring me, which is amazing because like I said, I had no background in addiction recovery. The whole thing was crazy how everything happened. And I was working there for maybe about 3 or 4 weeks. And one of the owners came up to me and said, listen, I want you to know my nephew is coming in from England to do some consulting because the person who was doing that type of work here has left. But you're probably going to have to do some work together. And I was like, somebody's going to come in and rain on my parade because I was like enjoying what I was doing and nobody was bothering me. Nobody was telling me what to do. And all I was thinking was, oh my God, now somebody's going to come in and I'm going to have to do these workshops with somebody else. And I had this idea.
Resistance, but she got out of her own way by the
way. I did. But I was like, oh my God, this pompous ass from England is going to come here and rain on my parade.
And she was right.
I was right. So that's my part of the story, but your part of the story is even better. Go ahead.
So Lee, tell us your side, how you ended up here and connecting with Andi.
Right. Well,
I was the pompous ass.
I was the pompous ass, yes. And I was actually working in England. I set up in England. I was doing personal growth and things like that. And my aunt came over from America and she was helping out with my grand. So I was very pleased because otherwise it would have been me. And she just mentioned that somebody had moved out of their business and was doing what I was doing. I said, oh, what a shame, because that's literally what I do. And the rest was history in that sense. It's like the light bulb went off and wow, could I? But here's where the intuition came in. I was really dead set against actually going because I was there. I was set up. I was quite happy doing what I was doing, but something inside me was saying, no, you gotta go. You've got to go. You've got to go. Didn't want to go. I really did not want to go, in all honesty. Yeah. I was even in Heathrow Airport and my bags were in. I went through security and thinking, can I get my bags back? Is it possible? Is it? I think I should. I think I should get my bags back.
His ego is trying to, intervene over here.
That was it. Oh, yeah. Really? I was overriding this like crazy, but there was something inside of me. Again, there we go. Something inside of me that was just getting me. I just knew. I can't even explain it. I just knew that I needed to go. And the rest was history. So
that's, it's such a beautiful story for those of you that don't know them, that this is, since I work with so many people that are single or, dying to decide, do I go back with the ex and what have you? I felt like you guys needed to see a couple that were married to other people, were in other relationships, and they had to do the work, right? Tell me how long you guys did the work before you met.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you've been
about 3 centuries.
True, right?
Well, at least 3 decades for you, if not seriously, because you were in your teens when you started doing this work, and I was in my 30s when I started doing this work.
Right.
And we're constantly doing the work together. I mean, that's the thing. It's not like, okay, we're in the relationship and all bets are off. We are constantly looking in the same direction together. We're constantly checking with ourselves. We've learned like not to blame. It's never about the other person. It's like, oh, when something is disconnected, that's an opportunity for me to look at myself. So I think that's been like the biggest lesson.
That's huge. Thank you for that advice. And Lee, coming from a male's perspective, anything you can give tips to women? I mostly get women, but I get a handful of guys about being intuitive and how to date. Do you have any tips for these women watching right now or future replays?
Well, it's going to sound like pretty obvious, but when
nothing's obvious. Everybody's different.
Don't shoot me for this.
Don't shoot the messenger.
A lady will go into great detail about the situation, the relationship, this. If a guy says, if you ask a guy, what's happening in your relationship, and he says, oh, it's awesome, that says it all. That to me, if a guy says, oh, it's awesome, oh my gosh, you're set for life because he loves you, he is devoted to you. I mean, that one word will just sum up everything, and that's the biggest advice of all. Guys don't do long-winded explanations.
They don't complicate. Is that what you're saying?
What's that?
They don't complicate.
They don't complicate. Yeah, it's so simple, Guys get together and they're having a problem. It's, how you doing? Not too bad. Not too good, really. Oh, really? Oh, never mind. Here's a beer or whatever. Yeah. Let's watch the game. That's how guys are generally. Of course, I'm generalizing, but yeah.
And since I have the as a male, giving advice for women now, Andi, any advice for men with dating?
Wow. I got to think about that for a minute. I would just say it's like so okay to be yourself. I mean, I think that is the most charming, to me, attractive part is when somebody's comfortable in their own skin. And that's always the work. It's just like, know that you're okay. Know it's okay to, you don't have to pretend that you like something in order for somebody else to be attracted to you. It's so important to just be who you are, Yeah.
And how long since so now you both pretty much listen to your intuition, which I give advice about all the time. Thank goodness you listened to it. And it wasn't just like you sat on the couch and meditated, but you had to take action, right? Both of you had to.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, well, for both of us, because for you, it was like, You did not. I mean, so many things in your head were saying, why am I leaving? I've got a great business going. Like I live in a great place. I live by the beach. Like you had a great life. So you're at the airport thinking, why am I coming to America? Like, this is crazy. And for me, it was like, why am I so dead set on getting into this treatment center? Like, it didn't make sense. I didn't have a background. Like, none of it made sense. But something was telling me, like, just do this. So yeah, I love what you're saying, Deirdre. It's about taking action. It's listening and then listening to that intuitive guidance and paying attention.
And I just want to address Lulu, because you were talking about me from Liverpool, but I just noticed you said that some people don't like authenticity. And forgive me for saying, but I do disagree on that. What people don't like is possibly you shining a light on somebody else. The truth is, authenticity is it. Because when that authenticity comes out in you, it's so pure. It's non-confrontational. It's not something that anybody could necessarily disagree with. Necessarily, there's always an exception to the rule. Sure. And let's be honest, if people don't like authenticity, would you say that's the correct relationship? Because I wouldn't necessarily think that that's the perfect,
Well, let's say it again. So then if you don't feel, you're trying to say if you don't feel that you could be authentic with them, obviously they're not your person. Is that what you're meaning?
Right.
Yeah,
There's always going to be a constant discomfort, and you want to be able to be yourself in a relationship. It's not that you don't want to improve on something. Maybe you have some habits that you'd like to change, but you want to be able to be comfortable enough in your own skin so that you can be who you are. Yeah.
And remember, relationship isn't just an intimate relationship. It's, it's talking to the cashier, it's talking to, the bus driver, whatever. It's absolutely everything in our lives, really, because our whole lives are based on our relationships.
And I'm so happy because you guys have been together how long now?
10 years.
10 years.
Woohoo! Yeah. A decade. They made it a decade.
We made it a decade.
Yes.
And I'm sure, was it always lollipops and, popsicles? Or, you guys had to acclimate to each other too, right?
Absolutely.
Both single people and connecting. And now you guys have been married and you work together. So tell us any suggestions for those that want to get love. What are the top 3 tips you can share with us?
Well, again, I'm reading these, and I
can't answer.
I'm not wearing my
I don't have my glasses either.
I just saw that. Openness is it, and sometimes it's very difficult. You can be open, and again, I'm being a little bit. What's the word? General again, saying all women or all men or masculine, feminine. So obviously I'm generalizing, but it tends to be more on the masculine side where they're very closed off, and I was taught that way. I grew up that way, and I realized what a difference it makes when I'm completely open, completely different. And I was scared, petrified, in fact, of being open. So again, having that compassion of seeing a person, so they're closed off, having that compassion for them and understanding where they are, we can actually allow them to open up more gradually. But if we try and push them in the deep end, oh my gosh.
And that's a good point, because I thought, and so any suggestion, because my clients are mostly women, like, do you find that they try to rush men too fast? I mean, I don't want to be women and men, but generally speaking, what are you seeing in relationships and dating?
Yeah.
Well, I think that question is for you. Do you feel like women want to rush into things?
Totally.
Yeah.
And what I always hear from women, because it's great, girls, right, that we have Lee, and I'm not trying to isolate you any guys. We have like about 150 over here, so Facebook is rocking it. That's funny.
Back me up, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, this is what I hear from the women. They only want sex. They don't want a relationship. So what's your perspective on that? Right? Of course, girls, I got to ask the real questions.
I can only talk from the masculine perspective.
Yes.
Okay. From the masculine perspective, we want you to be happy. And we want to provide and serve and all of those things. I know this is sort of caveman stuff, but it is. That's,
that's what
that's we do. Even in this day and age, we still want to be the protector, the provider, the this and this. And if we don't feel that we can do that, then we want to escape. So that's something to bear in mind. Not that it's your responsibility, but to bear that in mind, that is that where it's going? And you'll get an intuitive sense of what's happening here. What's something's off, that and when we can understand that from a masculine point of view, that we want to make you happy, and if we don't feel like we can make you happy, then obviously we feel like we're failures, and we don't want to feel like failures.
Oh, good point.
So of course, one of two things will happen. We'll be like really sort of trying desperately to make you happy, or we'll want to escape. We'll want to get out of there. And by you understanding that, and guys too understanding what's going on with ourselves,
sure,
we can actually address that, because it's all made up. It's not our, forgive me ladies, it's not our responsibility as guys to make you happy. I'm not saying
it. Now, so what does that mean? Say it again, because that's good nuggets right there.
Yeah.
It's not our responsibility to make you happy. Now, that doesn't mean to say we can be total, asses or anything like that. I'm simply saying that it's not our responsibility. It's our responsibility. Like the age-old thing, 2 half people don't make a whole person.
Love that. Yep, correct.
They make 2 half people.
Half-assers, I call them. Excuse the language. Hopefully I don't get taken
yeah.
off of YouTube, but half-assers.
I like that.
That's what I say. 2 half-assers. Yeah, that's not what you want.
Yeah, that's right. Right. So we need to be whole. So if we're going to be triggered or something like that by them not acting in the way that our, book, our law book says it rule book, that was it, law book, right? Our rule book says they don't have your rule book. Yeah. So
that's so smart. Because is it true men are from Mars and women are from Venus? I mean, they're different, right? Different energies, different perspectives overall. And, it's so interesting. And they're also, which is great, guys, they're psychics too. Maybe they don't, do readings like you do, but they actually have programs helping people to listen to your intuition, to pretty much, I'm going to let them say it, but to love yourself. That's where it starts. Is that what you find in order to have a healthy relationship?
It's always pointed back to self. When anything's happening in a relationship, if we don't take responsibility for being, co-creator, we're always going to be at the mercy of somebody else, and the relationship's not going to work. It's so very important to be able to look back within. Okay, I was available for this. So what is this teaching me? If we can soften it, what is this teaching me? How can I be more compassionate? How can I be more understanding? How can I come from a space of love? Like, that's a game changer.
There you go. Somebody wrote, it's your own responsibility to make ourselves happy.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And, the more happy we are with ourselves, as a consequence, we allow others to be happier. And we've seen absolute miracles with people that completely transformed just by the other person transforming themselves. If you're looking for something to be wrong, guaranteed you will find it. You will always find it.
Isn't that so true?
Yeah. And so many people I see, oh my God, they go into relationships and they've already got their walls up because this happened last time and this happened last time. So they're looking for trouble.
What are you trying to say?
But so if they don't clear that away and set an intention of what they're really looking for, then they're setting themselves up for failure. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
That's life. 100%. Relationships, it's life. If we are constantly looking for what's wrong, we will find it. And as a consequence, we live in a life of a wrong life, basically. And that's not, the perfect situation for a great relationship.
Yeah, well, it'll never be enough. It'll never be just right, because we'll always see something that we then define as a problem. And once you define something as a problem, you get more problems, because you fix that one and then another one will show up, because that's just the way that the world works. But instead of looking at something as a problem and saying, like, what is this actually telling me about myself, even if it's not the right relationship, no matter what, you're going to have your own sort of spiritual awakening to that.
Love it. And again, I didn't get to finish. And if you see any questions, go ahead. Anyone you want to answer? Because I can't see either. So anybody on TikTok? I can see these two, but there's any questions you want to answer?
Oh no, I just saw that being alone has been the most beautiful thing. Now I'm ready to add to my life, and I love that, because that's so true, isn't it? We sometimes jump into relationships because we feel alone, rather than working on that feeling alone. Because why would you go into a relationship when you're feeling alone? Because then you're going in with a sort of almost a handicap,
I love you saying that, because I have so many clients that say to me, Deirdre, the apps are broken.
Right.
What is your response to that? I think it goes hand in hand. Because who's going on the app is broken. They're blaming the app.
Right.
And it's because they haven't healed themselves. They all jump on because they don't want to, you said, be alone for a minute.
Yeah.
And they blame the apps, and it's the app's fault, right?
Yeah.
You will always attract what you believe about yourself. So if you are in a low state of mind, or you believe life is difficult, or you believe relationships are difficult, or you believe you'll never find somebody, well, the universe will say, yes, you're right.
Good point.
If you come into something with nothing on it, just you're whole within yourself, you're comfortable in your own skin, you're okay, the world will mirror that back to you. Meaning, if you don't have anything on it, you're so much more likely to meet somebody. Like, I never in a million years thought I was going to meet Lee, right? Like at a job at work, like it just wasn't even in my, my
now we're all curious. Did you have a list? Did you know what you were looking for?
Well, what's funny? I didn't actually have a list, but I had like a list in my mind. I never actually wrote one down.
Okay.
There were like a couple things because I can remember going to seminars, because I've been studying these things for years, and thinking like, oh my goodness, like I wish that I had somebody I could talk to about these things. Like I wish I had a male in my life that I could have these conversations with, not just when I'm at the seminar, but like a relationship with somebody who was on the same path as me. That was something that I really wanted. That was one of the things that was very, very important to me. And then I had like an idea of somebody, like of course, what you're very attracted to. And he had all the things going on, but I never actually wrote it down. But I did, like I had this.
You visualized it almost daily.
I had this idea, but you wrote it down.
Lee, tell us. We love it.
I'm so outing him. I might get in trouble in the car.
No, this is great, because we want to know like how to have a successful relationship, especially spiritual world. We want to get a spiritual guy or a partner. So come on, Lee, tell us the juice.
Tell us the story.
Well, this is a rarity for me, because I don't normally do vision boards and things.
No, you don't.
But I just happened to start doing a vision board, and this was back in England, probably 11 years ago. And so I created a vision board, and I was living on a coastal area of England, which it's only that big, so there's a lot of coastal areas in England. So and I wrote down, I had vision. So I had pictures, and I, ripped them out of magazines when I was at the dentist and stuff, and I put them on the vision board. And one was this beautiful penthouse, and it was overlooking the ocean. I was overlooking the sea, but this place was warm. So that was the first one.
Ooh. And
then the second one was I cut this lady out, and I suddenly had this feeling, I'm ready to get married now.
That's key.
Yeah.
Okay, you're ready.
There was just this feeling.
Okay.
And this was a year previous to coming here.
Okay.
But I just had this feeling, I'm ready. And I'd never said that before. Guys can appreciate, it's very rare that you say that you're ready, And so I cut this picture out. So that was my ideal lady. And I wasn't to the point of she has to look like that. It was just a generalization.
Sure.
Obviously, there was other things there, but those were the two things. The one thing, what I would do is a meditation. So I'd imagine myself in my penthouse. And now, if anybody's been to England, you know it's not very warm. So you might have the ocean, but it's not exactly warm very often.
Yeah, it's cloudy and rainy and cold.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
So every time I would do this meditation, I would feel this warmth. Now, I didn't do it. It was just a feeling. It was just coming over me, this warmth. Obviously, again, when you think of the ocean or the beach, you think of warmth. But it was like a feeling. It was almost freaking me out a little bit because I'm thinking, okay, am I only living here in the summer? Is that what's going on?
Right.
And then, lo and behold, I came to Florida. Lo and behold, living in an apartment overlooked the intercoastal. So it was
Close
almost
enough.
beach, right? And of course, it's always warm. And I suddenly said to Andy, it didn't occur to me, but I suddenly said to Andy, oh my gosh, this was in my dream, my visualizations. You know how it suddenly dawns on you? Oh my God.
Yes. You're like,
amazing.
oh my goodness, I got to watch what I think because I'm creating it.
Exactly. Yeah. But here's the other thing. The picture of the lady, I would swear it was Andy had taken that picture of herself.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God.
Her
So
hair,
she looks just, I was going to ask
the
that.
shape of the face, the eyes. I mean, it was, and again, when I met her, I didn't actually notice necessarily. It was just a little bit later. And these are two separate things when I thought of the heat and, the warmth.
Sure.
And then I suddenly said to her, oh my gosh, I had completely forgotten that I'd put that picture on my vision board. And
it was a
again,
year prior to all this for your meeting.
Yeah.
See?
I'd almost forgotten about it because it wasn't a thing that I did that often. So I just got it on the wall and I'd just forgotten about it.
Now I do have a question. So when you were setting your intention with your vision board, did you just have this knowingness it was eventually going to happen? You just let it go? Because I know some people say, I have a vision board and they still haven't shown up. Any advice for those people?
Well, as I just said, I'd forgotten about it. So that's how attached I was to it. Had I been looking at it and thinking, oh yes, that's going to be me. I'll make it eventually. I'll get there if I strive. I don't think it probably happened.
Okay.
And yes, chilly and rainy. Yeah.
What was that?
Chilly and rainy. That's how England is.
Yeah. Somebody wrote that. Yes. I mean, that's amazing. So I'm loving that you guys are giving so much of us advice right now on love because so many people are single or keep repeating the same patterns. But because I feel like the two of you both did your work separately, right?
Yeah.
And then you both in different ways, because I don't feel there's a one-stop shop of manifesting, right?
Right. Absolutely.
No. Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Because Andy was effective. You didn't write it down, but you had it in your head. And it sounds like you're probably a pretty good visualizer.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, I did. I had an idea in my head. It just, again, I wasn't looking. And I think like when you're not looking, it's something that's just like sitting in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
And when you're not looking, that's when, at least that's been my experience. So
and then same with you too, Lee, right?
Yeah,
you wrote it down, you let it go because you trusted the universe is working on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've found over and over and over again that the more you want it, the less it tends to happen.
And I love that you say that because I always use the example of, you ever hear about a couple that works years to try to have a baby and they finally let it go. Maybe they even adopt, and guess what happens?
They get pregnant.
Yeah.
I have my big sister in college, exact same thing that happened to her.
Right.
She adopted. She had her kids were 6 months apart because she adopted and she got pregnant.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, incredible. I had a client who was trying for years and years, and what we worked on was her passion was writing children's books or poems, children's poems.
Love it.
Lo and behold, she got published. It wasn't like a big deal, but she got published, right? But as you can imagine, she got pregnant. But where was her attention? It was on writing these poems and getting published, which she thought we were working on. But it was the fact that because she let go, because there wasn't anything on it, she got pregnant.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
See, that's great advice, guys. I hope you're writing these notes down, because look, it's proof right here that don't give up. And any advice before we take questions on all the platforms to anybody who keeps finding the same narcissist or person they don't want? Sorry, guys, hold on a second. Any advice for they keep maybe manifesting the same pattern?
Yeah. I would say
Same kind of person, maybe different face, but same
Right.
kind of person.
Yeah. You must, the shift must happen on the inside, no pun intended, but it literally must happen on the inside, because wherever you go, there you are. So you keep meeting what you expect to meet. So when you make that change on the inside, when you come to peace with yourself, saying like, I'm okay no matter what. I'm okay with or without this person. I'm healthy regardless. I'm happy regardless. So you got to get to that point where you're okay with the world. You're okay with yourself. That's when you're open to change. But if you keep saying, oh, I keep meeting the same person, I keep dating the same guy, I keep having the same experience, well, until you make that change, the universe is going to keep presenting you whatever it is that you need to learn from.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Anything you want to add, Lee?
Yeah, I mean, again, there was a question, how do you detach? And that's the biggest thing, isn't it? It's like, how do you detach from something you desperately want? Stop desperately wanting.
Yeah.
I know that's the obvious thing, but the way you do that is, there was a great Sufi saying, and it said, tie up your camels and trust in God. Now, we don't have camels, unless you're in Egypt or something, maybe. But it's tie up your camels. So do your due diligence.
Sure,
like working on yourself, loving yourself, being the person that you want to be, with, because they're a mirror of yourself.
That's key. That's key. Because I read a lot of people that want to bail out. And guess what they're going to manifest for themselves?
Yeah. And there
Somebody
goes
also
the
broken.
repeating pattern. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
You'll always take you with you.
Yeah.
Somebody said thank you. They needed to hear that.
Oh, right.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yay.
Yeah. We need to hear it.
Yeah. And I have to
everybody
say,
does, right?
This has been a constant, we're constantly working together on this, learning from each other. It's not just, we know. No, it's a constant learning, a constant growth. But we have an agreement to do this work together, not to do this physical work together because of our career, but to do this work together in our relationship.
Yeah.
So we know if something's off, we get to look at ourselves and just have self-reflection.
That's key.
Yeah.
And when we say work, it's not like, oh, it's really hard work, but there are times where it feels that way. And that's where, if you're triggered by a person, so relationships across the board, right? If you're triggered by the person and you can actually look within, forget the story, just feel the feeling, feel what's going on with it. What is it in me that's creating this? Now, it seems, especially as somebody mentioned a narcissist, you could think, well, it's definitely not me, However, what is it in me that's being triggered by a narcissist, because then you can think, well, if I know that, or I'm aware of these things, then I can make decisions.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say, well, do I stay in a relationship or do I leave? Well, when you're secure in yourself, when you are assertive, as we say, lovingly assertive, you will know, because people are people, and people, even at their worst, can change. They can change to be better people. But if we try and change them,
well, I'm going to ask my next big question that 99% of people want to know, especially here. Should I take my ex back?
Oh, wow.
And I know it's general.
It is such a general question. And I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is like, what's in your heart? Is your head just telling you, I miss this, I miss date night, I miss the perks or whatever it is, or I miss the company? Or is it in your heart? No, wait a second. We're still here to learn from one another. I'll never forget. Well, a couple things that I wanted to say. And I forgot one of them, but
So there's one thing she's going to say.
there's one thing I'm going to say is that I remember like the first time that I facilitated a group for people that were experiencing addiction and recovery. There was a guy, and it was like my third session, and there was a guy who had been there for all 3 sessions. And at each time, third time, he kept talking about this woman that he was living with, and he would always say all these problems and what was going on. So I said to him, I'm like, why are you staying? I was curious. I'm like,
Yeah.
and he said to me, because I'm not done learning.
Good for him.
And
Yeah.
I really deeply heard that. I deeply, deeply heard that. You know, deep down, every relationship is an opportunity for growth. So you know, is this relationship serving me? Is this helpful or hurtful? You deep down know that. Do you want to get back in the relationship because you're lonely? Because you're afraid there's nobody else? Because you're afraid, well, he ticked off 5 of the 10 boxes. I'll take that. 50% is pretty good. Or do you want to get back in the relationship because you feel a deep connection and you just know the things that need to be tweaked, you're willing to work on?
Right.
Beautiful. That is, I hope you guys again are taking notes on this, because this can save you years. No, I'm going to say weeks, years, and
Lifetime.
Lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, this is amazing stuff. And look, from a successful couple, and they look how they both worked on themselves. They manifested each other, and they're still working on themselves together.
Yeah.
And that's why, I wanted to have them on. And when we release the podcast, you get some other nuggets too from them. And they have special programs. Tell everybody too, just a website, since we're streaming on 4 different platforms.
Yeah. So it's Shift Happens Global. So you can find us on Instagram and TikTok on Shift Happens Global, and Shift Happens on Facebook. And our website is shifthappens.global.
And I'll put it in all the links. Oh, there's a feather. I don't know if you guys see that. There's a feather there. Let's go start with TikTok. My TikTok page is at Deirdre Abrami. I'll randomly, since Lee you can see and I cannot, I'm just going to go like this and just pick somebody and pin it, since I can't see SHIT. I know, like a little kid. What does that say? Oh, new messages too. Oh my goodness, there's so much in there. Okay. Let me see. Oh, pin. Okay, can you read it?
Are we going to reconcile me and Kareem?
Oh.
So again, you're looking at like a psychic reading there,
But what's your intuition? We're just going to use intuition. But I also want you to kind of coach them through this.
Well, that's it. What I would actually suggest, we were talking about the GPS, and I was saying it's so cool because they don't give me grief when I go the wrong way. They just say, turn left at the next exit. And, they're not like, what the hell are you doing? What are you thinking? We have that internal GPS. And it's when we look at that question, are we going to reconcile? We're wanting, that's the ego talking. And forgive me for saying, I'm not saying you're egotistical or anything like that. It's just that we're listening to that persona of ourselves as opposed to our true intuition, because the true intuition will guide you in that direction. Will you reconcile? Well, if it's meant to be, and I'm not saying like in the clouds or anything necessarily, I'm saying more when your intuitive sense will guide you in the right direction. And if that is that you are meant to reconcile, then that's what will happen.
Yeah. And also if you don't get in your own way, if you're so attached to something, you're not leaving room for the magic to happen. The less attached you are and the more loving you are, really just being in a space of love for yourself, if it is something that's meant to be, that's going to serve you, it will happen. But you can't be so attached to it, because then you're locking up your bandwidth.
Right.
Your bandwidth is restricted, and you're
the
actually
more desperate you are, the further away it goes.
And needy is creepy.
So take their advice, because 1,000%, there's no accident. Whoever's watching this now or on the replays later, you needed to hear this. Sorry, they're mowing my lawn. It's all good. But because it's so true, by you saying, are we going to reconcile versus what's good for you? What are you really looking for? That's the key. Forget about them. forget about reconciling.
Yeah.
Do they check all your boxes off? And I like, Andy, when you said that they only check off 5 of the boxes. Like, that's where you need to start there first. And it's not about, because I have a feeling once you start really looking what you want, they're not going to be checking all your boxes off. So it won't matter if you're going to reconcile or not.
Right.
Yeah.
And our mind plays tricks with us. It's like you leave a relationship and you remember all the phenomenal times that you had. Oh my gosh, it was the best time of my life. Or it can go the opposite, admittedly. Like you remember all the bad times. But for the most part, if you want to get back in that relationship, you remember all the good times and you don't take an intuitive look at, is this really right for me? I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm simply saying that will give you that intuitive sense of, there's another question there. Will I find my person soon? Again, that intuition will guide you to what's right for you. So is the answer yes or no? I don't know, but your intuition does.
Love
your
it.
intuition will definitely guide you, because once you are ready, you're absolutely ready. And it's amazing. The moment we feel so secure in ourselves, the person shows up.
Isn't that, why is that?
Yeah.
When you're not even looking, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
you become a magnet.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because think about, we always give this analogy. If you give in order to receive, you get zilch, nothing, nada. But when you give just for the sake of giving, just for the sake of being a good, even that, you're not even being a good person, you're just giving. You get back, I say 1,000-fold, maybe 1,000,000-fold, who knows? But that's the way it works. So when you're looking for something, you've got a price tag there. But when you're just being your true self, your authentic self, it's guaranteed, just like giving in order to receive. It's guaranteed the right situation, whatever that might be, will show up for you.
Beautiful. We're going to go on to Instagram, which is DeirdreAbrami.psychic. I don't know if we have too many people left on here, but we'll see if there's any questions. Write a question right now. Go to my Instagram, DeirdreAbrami.psychic. And anybody, and I always say, go to my YouTube if you want to get a question, because you have a better chance over there, which is Deirdre Abrami. Deirdre Abrami, that's YouTube at Deirdre Abrami. We'll see if there's anybody questions, because I think we only have a handful of people here. What does the future hold for me?
And Andrew.
Yeah. Well,
for me and Andrew.
What is that?
It says, what does the future hold for me and Andrew?
Oh, for Andrew, I missed that.
Yeah.
Again, I love your principles. If you don't mind answering the way you did the others, I think it's pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah. It's to me, it's what do you want it to be? What kind of space are you holding for the relationship? If you can see the relationship in love and light, if you can see the health in the relationship, if you can see the joy in the relationship, that relationship will prosper. If you are looking at what is wrong, then that will become magnified. So you are in the driver's seat. But you're not in the driver's seat trying to control somebody else. You're in the driver's seat by leading with love. That is the answer. Hands down, like done. That's it.
Beautiful. You know what I love about this concept we're doing today, right now, because this was very last minute, is you're empowering them. You're empowering them to manifest their true love. I mean, of course, I love giving readings, but it's more about you're giving them the tools.
Yeah, get in the driver's seat.
Get in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Take charge. Get the steering wheel.
Yeah.
That's it, the steering wheel. Because when you've got that inner self, that inner drive, you have that steering wheel. You can create the life that you want, rather than waiting for somebody to tell you what it is,
Right.
We're going to go over to Facebook. It's more of a comment. I mean, she wrote, Sandy Smith said, it really applies to me. Thank you again. I'm going to write that saying and put it on my mirrors so I see it daily.
What was the saying?
I'm sure it was something good.
Must have been something good.
No, that's great. Listen, I love that you're putting it on your mirror. That is so powerful, because we've got to remind ourselves, we're not taught this. We're taught to live in fear. We're taught to live restricted. So yes, you want to put it on your mirror. You want to put it in your car. You want to put it, like on your little dashboard or something in your car. You want to have
do that.
constant. We do.
Yeah.
You want to have constant reminders for yourself, because if you've got habits that aren't working for you, you want to retrain your brain, you want to learn something new. And in order to do that, you've got to put the effort towards it. You've got to focus on it. You've got to keep reminding yourself, oh, that old story, it's got a beard on it. Like, no, I'm done. I want something new and fresh.
Love it. And lastly, somebody from YouTube says, what's coming in for love? Thank you. But again, I want you guys to answer with your philosophy. You guys are just giving some really great advice today.
What's coming in for love is be love. Be that which you seek. Be that which you seek. Be love. Be the essence of love. Be a loving being. Everything that you want in somebody else, be that person. Be helpful, be loving, be kind, be strong. All these things that you want from a partner. Be that. That will change your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And we constantly use the analogy of, people say fake it till you make it. And we say, no, then you'll be a fake person, right? Yeah.
And you won't be authentic, right? Then you'll manifest a fake person.
Exactly. And it's almost like then you'll be thinking, oh my gosh, when are they going to find out who I truly am? But fake it till you make it is not, in our opinion, the answer. Then you say act as if. And if you think of a true actor, they are not just playing a part, they are the part. They become that actor. But here's the thing with act as if, because a lot of people say, well, what about, actors who've taken their lives? Why are they not being that? And that's the true answer, because they'll act a part and then they'll go back to their supposed true selves. They'll go back to who they think they are. But what we always say is be as if. Imagine you're, I'm going to say, what's that guy? Sharon, what's his name? I've forgotten his name. He's from Birmingham, like me. So
he's English.
The singer. Anyway, I'm digressing.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But what was it? The Black.
Anyway,
I'm digressing here.
Yeah. Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've forgotten his name. Anyway, the be as if, when you are yourself 24/7. Imagine you're on reality TV and you've got all cameras looking. They're not in the bathroom, so don't worry. But there might be. So you might, even in the bathroom, have to be as if 24/7. Never, ever, ever go back to who you thought you were.
Right.
You become that person. And when you become that person, when you're being as if, it's, again, going back to that giving, receiving, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that your life is going to work out accordingly. Because we don't see the world, we see the perception of our world. We don't actually experience the world, we experience our perception of the world. And without getting woo-woo with the quantum physics, it's, let's just say, even if it's perception, even if you don't believe that you can create, an actual event in the world.
Ozzy Osbourne. Go ahead.
Right. You will create a perception that works for you. So you be as if 24/7. Once you decide who you are, be that person. And you might forget, of course, that's just human nature. But just get back on it.
Get back up on that horse.
Get back up on that horse. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. This was beautiful, like impulsive live videos and all the platforms. Thank you. I will do a replay after we finish here. So thank you guys for playing with us for a little bit here. And thank you, Andi and Lee.
My pleasure.
Tell everybody one more time your website.
Shifthappens.global.
And I'll put it also wherever platform you're viewing this from, I'll put it below. Awesome. Thanks again. Have a good day. Ciao.
Bye.